I'm building a LEGO Star Wars board game that blends the playstyle of games like Disney's Villainous with Dungeons & Dragons roleplay elements and base defense mechanics like Minecraft Bed Wars. And by the end of today's video, this Mandalorian-focused game will be fully complete. But before we get started, YouTube says that over 90% of you aren't subscribed, so make sure you click that subscribe button because, as the Mandalorian says, this is the way. Now, grab your best guard, jump in the Razor Crest, and let's get into the video. This board game is going to be made up of 4 main sections, and in the first part of the series we built 3 of those, being the Mandalorian's homestead, the New Republic base, and the central module or the shop. Today, we're going to be building the Bounty Hunter Guild module and the Imperial or Remnant module, and lastly we'll be building the remaining force cards we need to finish out the deck. When I was thinking about a 4th team to add to this project, I thought it was only right that the Bounty Hunter Guild got some representation, since Greef Karga and the guild are such an important force on the planet Nevarro, plus Greef Karga is just awesome. The Bounty Hunter Guild's nemesis is the New Republic. They don't want the young new government making their bounty duties harder in the Outer Rim, and their secondary goal is to complete 3 bounties. In this game, a player wins by either defeating the base of their nemesis or completing their secondary goal. In today's episode, I can reveal to you that the New Republic's secondary goal is to recruit 5 members to their cause, meaning they'll have to go out onto the board, use 2 enhance points to convince an NPC to join them, and bring them back to the base. The New Republic can only recruit 1 NPC at a time, so they have to adventure out into Nevarro multiple times to recruit all 5, so you can't just do it all in one big rush. For the Mandalorian and Grogu, I know it's silly, but the goal is to feed Grogu 5 times because that little dude loves snacks. There are 5 lootable snacks that the Mandalorian and Grogu can get, which are placed by your non-nemesis opponents, and the player has to use 1 loot point and 1 enhance point to loot a snack, which are only lootable by the Mandalorian and Grogu. The Bounty Hunter Guild's secondary objective is a little more complicated because this is the only faction that'll have their own deck of cards, with each card giving that player a target to go after, capture, and bring that bounty back to their base. The guild has to go out and complete 3 bounties, and if the NPC you're after has already been recruited or defeated, you'll have to draw a new card. You can hold 1 card at a time, and each time a bounty is completed or becomes impossible, you draw a new card. To complete a bounty, you can either defeat an NPC with attack points or use 2 enhance points to capture them. Okay, we've talked about enough rules for now. If you want to learn about the rest of the rules, make sure you check out part 1, but now let's take a look at the build. The Bounty Hunter Guild is the 4th module for this build, and this base has a unique feature with it. It's the only base that can be looted on the inside. So if you do some role playing during setup, you can convince someone to be your ally or teammate and leave a couple of good pieces of loot in your base using that Bounty Hunter charisma. For this building, I followed the same guidelines as the previous buildings, using the white architecture of Nevarro and some circular structures to add extra detail to the build. On the inside, there's a little bar and a couple of chairs, which are places that NPCs can hang out, and there's a couple of lootable white jumper plates in here as well. Honestly, this isn't my favorite structure on the build. There's definitely some stuff I would change to make it better, but I think it does the job well enough to be functional for the game. There are some more lava rivers flowing through the landscape and a white bridge to get across, and there's also a little droid guy who's out here stuck in the lava. If you're able to rescue him and recruit him, you can use him as a functional NPC. I think this project has shown me that I like to build little droid guys. The other structure on this module is a campfire. This is sort of based on the scene from the first season of The Mandalorian where Grogu does the magic hand thing and heals Greef Karga. Force Heal is actually one of the force cards I built for this game, but we'll talk about my custom made cards later on in the video, so make sure you stick around till the end. I figured the Bounty Hunter Guild module will be a great place to populate with NPCs for each game since it's sort of a hub on the planet, and I'm realizing I should probably explain how NPC and loot placement works at the beginning of the game. During the game setup, each player takes an equal amount of NPCs and they can place them anywhere on the board that isn't on their own module. Same thing goes for lootable items. Each player gets an equal amount to place across the lootable white jumper plates. Back to the build, if you're playing as the Bounty Hunter Guild, your minifigure character is Greef Karga and your companion is a cute little BD droid to help you find bounties in difficult places. I think it's time we move on to the last module of the build, the Imperial Remnant, and I have to say I really like how this one turned out. I based the Imperial Remnant base on the base, okay, that's a lot of bases. I built the Imperial Remnant module to look like the structure we see in The Mandalorian Season 2 as a long base placed on the side of a ravine, and I used these old LEGO castle pieces to achieve a similar rounded shape to the base in the show. I added a few cannons and towers to the top of the base, and on the platform that juts out into the ravine, I added this little advent calendar build that I just happened to find while I was digging through my parts bins, and I think it looks super fun. The other 2 structures on this module include a landing platform that currently has 2 orange storage bins. These are from the Rogue One sets from 2016, and I used these back in my Battle of Scarif mock, but these are meant to be lootable structures in game that actually have some items inside, like these binoculars that let you double your looting distance. The other structure on this module is an Imperial Remnant shuttle, and I built this one for my Maul Shadowlord mock recently, and I thought it would fit right in place on the Imperial Remnant base. There's a little spot in this vehicle to add some loot as well, and I thought it added a nice extra structure to the build and gave it a little more life. Lastly, this module has a bit of a lava river as well, and also a little barricade to block the path. I wanted this module to be intentionally tricky to get into since the Mandalorian always seems to be on some stealth mission to infiltrate an Imperial base. I'm really happy with how this module turned out, and I think it's a great place for my Grand Admiral Thrawn minifigure to hang out as the Imperial Remnant's character, and his companion is a little mouse droid who who we're gonna see get destroyed in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie by Grogu. With the Imperial Remnant module done, the base of the board game is almost complete, but there are a few finishing touches to add, like adding a few more lootable jumper plates across the board. In part 1, I said I was going to use this little Razor Crest polybag for a structure on the Mandalorian module of the board. Well, I picked up one of those polybags. I didn't get it for this year's May the 4th promos because honestly, I didn't feel that compelled to buy the promotions this year, but I stopped by Barnes & Noble for this polybag and it's a pretty fun build. Usually I don't go out of my way to get these polybag ship builds, but this was a fun one, and it's also pretty cool to get one of those newer paper polybags. I'm glad that the LEGO group is at least trying to make things a bit more environmentally friendly and recyclable. With the little build done, I think it fits really well on the module, and it's out of scale for sure, but it's a good representation of the ship for the game, and it also provides a place to put a few more lootable items on the ground. With the Razor Crest in place, the playmat for the game is finally done, but there's still a lot to build before the game is playable, so don't go anywhere yet. Before we talk about force cards, I did build a few inventory trays for players to hold their collected action points, loot, and NPCs, and make sure those pieces aren't rolling off the table. These trays can be connected to the board behind each player's base and are locked into place with a pin, but they can be removed at any time in case we need to move items around. Before I play this with my friends, I need to build a whole bunch of lootable turrets and shields to defend the bases with, so if you have any ideas for loot, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can add. With the board done, I started working on designing the force cards that you can draw using a blue action point, and I think this might have been my favorite part of the project. I wanted this game to be entirely built with LEGO bricks, but when it comes to building a shuffleable deck of cards, it's kind of difficult, so like I said in part 1, I decided to build the card art and then digitally design a card around that build. I designed 5 cards, and there'll be 5 copies of each of these in the deck, the first one being the World Between Worlds card. I wanted these cards to look like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering cards, so I put a colorful background behind the brick-built card art, and I added a black border just to make it look a little cleaner. And after adding a description, the card is ready to be printed. The next card I designed was the Force Push card, allowing a player to push an NPC or object 10 studs away from them, and for this brick-built card art, I designed a little figure in Jedi robes reaching out to push something with the Force. I used a skeleton leg for the figure's hand, and I really like how this one turned out. The next card was the Force Ghost card, allowing a player to bring an NPC back from the graveyard after they've been defeated, and I thought a Lego skeleton worked perfectly for this. For the Force Heal card, I built a simple heart, and this card allows the player to fully heal their minifigure character, but it does not work on bases. If your base loses health points, it's gone for good. The last card I designed I call Short Negotiations, which is a play on the line from The Phantom Menace where Obi-Wan says,
"The negotiations were short."
This card allows the player to trade their equipped weapon or armor with the weapon or armor of an NPC they're next to, so the art I made was a 2-sided arrow to represent the trade. Lastly, I designed a card back because it's always more fun when the card has art on both sides, and I used the hyperspace warp from Star Wars as the art here since Lucasfilm has been steadily hinting that hyperspace is tied to the Force itself. I haven't printed these cards out yet, but I'll have them ready when I do a full playthrough of this game, so if you want to see that on the channel, make sure you like this video. And if you have any ideas for other card abilities, let me know in the comments. This has been one of my favorite projects to work on, and I'm already planning to implement a system like this in my next large-scale LEGO How to Train Your Dragon mock. I'm also planning to hopefully add on to this build in the future. I'm already looking into possible expansions, and in the comments someone said I should use the armor and a forge as the shop in the middle, so swappable structures and shops is another thing I'm looking into. Thanks for the comment, by the way. It was an amazing idea. I'm going to refine the rules and get this game ready to play, so share this video with a friend to let them know you want to play a LEGO board game with them. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and check out the playlist if you missed part 1. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, this is the way. I mean, it's a beautiful day in the Brickstorm.